Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubillos was born on January 25, 1957 in Genova, Quindio, Colombia. His early years were marred by abject poverty, neglect, and relentless abuse. His father, a violent alcoholic, subjected him to brutal physical beatings. This abuse left deep psychological scars. Garavito's childhood was not only physically traumatic but also emotionally devastating. He was often ridiculed and ostracized by his peers, contributing to his feelings of isolation and anger. Despite the abuse, Garavito managed to attend school, but his academic performance was poor, and he frequently skipped classes. These early experiences of trauma and neglect set the stage for his violent tendencies, which would later escalate into one of the most horrific crime sprees in Colombia's history. The 1990s saw a terrifying rise in child disappearances across Colombia. As reports of missing boys surged, a wave of fear and confusion gripped the nation. Garavito's modus operandi involved luring young boys with promises of money or gifts, leading them to isolated locations where he would commit his heinous acts. He would torture, rape, and murder his victims, often leaving their bodies in shallow graves. The sheer number of victims and the meticulous planning of each abduction made the task of linking the crimes challenging for law enforcement. Garavito traveled extensively across Colombia, targeting boys from different regions, which helped him avoid detection. The inconsistency in the locations of the crimes made it difficult to establish a pattern initially. Communities were torn apart by grief and anxiety as the number of victims continued to rise. The lack of concrete leads and the escalating body count created an atmosphere of dread that pervaded Colombian society throughout the 1990s. As the number of child disappearances escalated, a dedicated police task force was formed to investigate the crimes. The investigation was multifaceted, involving crime scene analysis, forensic evidence collection, and psychological profiling. Initial efforts to catch the perpetrator were hampered by the lack of coordination between regional police departments. Forensic teams meticulously examined the sites where bodies were discovered, looking for any clues that might lead to the killer. Psychological profiling emerged as a vital tool in narrowing down the suspect pool. Behavioral analysts constructed a profile based on the brutality and consistency of the crimes, matching many characteristics of Luis Garavito. Despite these advances, capturing Garavito proved to be a daunting task due to his extensive travels and use of different aliases. However, the persistence and collaboration of the police across various regions eventually led to a breakthrough. The breakthrough in the investigation came in October 1999. A homeless man was arrested in Villavicencio for attempting to rape a young boy. Police soon realized that this man was Luis Garavito. His arrest brought a wave of relief to the nation, which had been living in fear for years. The evidence against him was overwhelming, linking him to numerous crime scenes. During interrogation, he began to confess to the crimes in chilling detail. His confessions were corroborated by the forensic evidence collected from various crime scenes. The news of his arrest spread rapidly, bringing a sense of closure to many families who had lost their children. Garavito's arrest marked the end of a horrific chapter in Colombian history. Luis Garavito's trial was one of the most high-profile cases in Colombian history. Garavito faced charges for the murder of 147 boys, although he confessed to killing more than 300. His detailed confessions were both shocking and necessary for the legal process. During the trial, Garavito provided a harrowing account of his crimes. His confessions were supported by the forensic evidence, which included DNA matches and personal items belonging to the victims found in his possession. The prosecution emphasized the premeditated nature of his crimes and the calculated manner in which he executed them. In 2000, Garavito was sentenced to 1,853 years and 9 days in prison. However, Colombian law capped sentences at 40 years, which sparked outrage among the public. Despite the limitations of the legal system, Garavito's conviction provided a sense of justice for the victims and their families. Luis Garavito has been extensively studied by psychologists and criminologists seeking to understand the mind of a serial killer. His case offers valuable insights into the factors that contribute to such extreme criminal behavior. Garavito's traumatic childhood, marked by severe abuse and neglect, played a significant role in shaping his violent tendencies. Psychologists have noted that Garavito exhibited signs of antisocial personality disorder and psychopathy. His lack of empathy, manipulative behavior, and ability to deceive others are characteristic of these conditions. These traits, combined with his traumatic upbringing, created a perfect storm that led to his murderous spree. Garavito's ability to evade capture for so long is also a subject of study, demonstrating a high level of criminal sophistication. Understanding the psychological makeup of offenders like Garavito is crucial for developing strategies to prevent such tragedies in the future. The crimes of Luis Garavito had a profound impact on Colombian society. The sheer scale of his atrocities shocked the nation and led to widespread calls for justice. Garavito's case also highlighted significant shortcomings in the country's law enforcement and judicial systems. The initial lack of coordination between regional police departments hindered the investigation, allowing Garavito to continue his crimes for years. In response to the public outcry, the Colombian government implemented several measures to enhance child protection. These included stricter laws against child abuse, increased funding for child welfare programs, and the establishment of specialized units within the police force to handle cases involving children. The impact of Garavito's crimes extended beyond the immediate victims and their families, leading to a broader societal reckoning with issues of child abuse and neglect. The case served as a catalyst for change, driving efforts to create a safer and more just society for all children in Colombia. The Garavito case prompted significant advancements in forensic methods and child protection in Colombia. The challenges faced during the investigation highlighted the need for more sophisticated forensic techniques and better training for law enforcement personnel. Forensic science saw major improvements with the introduction of advanced DNA analysis techniques and better crime scene management practices. These advancements not only helped in securing convictions, but also served as a deterrent to potential offenders. Child protection laws were also strengthened in the wake of the Garavito case. New legislation was introduced to ensure harsher penalties for crimes against children, and to provide better support for victims and their families. The reforms brought about by the Garavito case have had a lasting impact on Colombia's approach to child protection and criminal investigation. These changes continue to play a vital role in safeguarding the well-being of children across the nation. The legacy of Luis Garavito's actions is one of horror and transformation. His crimes not only devastated countless families but also left an indelible mark on Colombian society. Garavito's actions spurred significant changes in Colombia's legal and law enforcement systems. The reforms implemented in the aftermath of his arrest have strengthened the country's ability to prevent and respond to crimes against children. These changes, while born out of tragedy, have had a positive impact on the safety and security of future generations. The case has also contributed to the global understanding of serial killers and the psychological factors that drive their behavior. These learnings have informed the development of more effective profiling and intervention strategies. While the horror of his actions can never be forgotten, the lessons learned from his case continue to guide efforts to protect children and prevent such atrocities from occurring again. The case of Luis Garavito offers several critical lessons for preventing future tragedies. One of the most important takeaways is the necessity of early intervention in cases of child abuse and neglect. Garavito's traumatic childhood played a significant role in his development into a serial killer, underscoring the need for robust support systems for at-risk children. Another key lesson is the importance of collaboration and communication among law enforcement agencies. Improved cooperation and information sharing can significantly enhance the effectiveness of criminal investigations. The advancements in forensic science that resulted from the Garavito case also highlight the need for ongoing investment in technology and training. Ensuring that law enforcement personnel have access to the latest tools and techniques is essential for maintaining public safety. These lessons continue to shape policies and practices aimed at preventing future tragedies and safeguarding vulnerable populations. Section 11. Conclusion, Vigilance and Effective Law Enforcement. The chilling story of Luis Garavito serves as a sobering reminder of the atrocities that can occur when vigilance and effective law enforcement are lacking. His reign of terror left an indelible mark on Colombia, but it also catalyzed significant changes that have improved the protection of children and the efficacy of criminal investigations. The reforms implemented in the aftermath of his arrest have strengthened Colombia's ability to prevent and respond to crimes against children. These changes, while born out of immense tragedy, have had a lasting positive impact on the safety and well-being of future generations. The advancements in forensic science, legal reforms, and the focus on child protection continue to play a critical role in safeguarding society. The legacy of Garavito's actions is a complex one, encompassing both the horror of his crimes and the progress that has been made in their wake. By learning from the past and continually striving to improve, society can work towards a future where such atrocities are prevented. The case of Luis Garavito highlights the importance of vigilance, collaboration, and ongoing investment in protecting vulnerable populations and ensuring justice for all.